What is going on, guys? Carter here with Edged Mindset. Thank you for joining me today. It's Saturday at the time of filming. Who knows when this is going to go up? And my voice is still cracking. I apologize. We're just going to have to live with it. If you're watching this video in the future and don't have the context, I got hit with a massive cold a week ago. I'm still recovering. Like, I feel better, but my throat is, it's still a little iffy. It's like, do I really want to talk for minutes and minutes at a time, or do I want to keep chilling? And it's kind of letting me know that it wants to keep chilling. But we are going to be doing a fun little tabletop review on this Pariah from Heretic Knives. This is the G10 camo version. I do want to give a disclaimer. This was sent to me for the channel. I already did the main unboxing and the shorts and the announcement of the drop. I believe these are still available if you want one. It's a really cool knife. Price is a little high, I'll be honest, but it is a USA made, big old chunky piece of steel, and it's pretty fun with this button lock mechanism. And we're going to get into that here. The good, the bad, and the ugly. It did have a little bit of ugly. Still has a little bit of ugly, but we're going to talk about that. This is a unbiased review. Even though this was sent to me, what do I got to lose? It's not like I've got a knife review empire that I'm worried about losing here. I make next to no money on this channel. This is all for fun. And I like friendships with knife makers, but at the same time, I have a duty to try and review items. The only biases you're going to find on this channel is not from me trying to make companies happy or retailers happy. The only bias you're going to get on this channel is personal bias. Knives that I like where I overlook things. And that's just how it is. I like knives for a lot of different reasons. Sometimes it's not the best knife. Sometimes they're not made that well, but I still love them. So that's the bias you're going to get here. Not from me trying to, make retailers or companies happy. I don't care. I mean, I care, but not enough to compromise integrity. Anyways, I've talked too much. 4-inch blade-ish, just under a 4-inch blade. Overall length is 9 inches. This is huge. This is a big button lock. Maybe the biggest button lock that's ever existed. I don't know if that's true. Depends on how you define big, but it's a big button lock. You don't see button locks large like this that often. 5.1 ounces. And that's all blade, baby. Because this is pure G10 handles. There's no liners or anything going on in there. It almost looks like an integral G10. It is not. You can kind of see the seam right there. But with the black and blue alternating G10, it's really, really hidden. Depending on where I point the camera, you can almost not see the seam. So kind of cool. It would have been neat if this was a true integral, but I don't think it's worth the effort to make the pivot and getting the button in, and then maintenance would be difficult. So I kind of like this approach, how it looks like it's integral, but it's not. You've got this nice vent hole here to clean out whatever you need to clean out. Lint, muck, Cheeto dust, whatever is inside your knife, you can clean it out there. Really thick slab of Magnacut steel. Like, this is a chunky piece of Magnacut steel. Beautiful harpoon. I love the harpoons. I like the Pariah design overall. It's very nice. It's very visually appealing. You've got this nice belly. The point is about at the pivot level, so a good, decent all-around point orientation here. You can choke up on this thing, but man, it's such a long blade. You are all the way out here. You get a little bit nervous, You get a little bit nervous. The blade on this thing is almost a full knife size. Like, it's that big. Very thick behind the edge, flat ground. So if you're looking for a slicer, this is not it. It is very sharp. It came razor sharp out of the box. I've used it. Let's see if I can still... Yeah, it's still shaving some hair. Very sharp, but you can see how that bevel is just not very... it's pretty obtuse. So not slicery at all. This is more of the hard-use, heavy-duty bruiser type knife. Now, button lock. I'm not the biggest button lock fan. They are cool to fidget with, and this one is no frickin' exception to that rule. I just don't trust them all that much. And a lot of the times the button locks I've experienced have some play. This one does not. This is bank vault tight. It is a really, really good lockup on that button lock there. You can see the lock interface right here, how it's nice and coned, so that if it wears in or when it wears in, it will remain being tight. Now, when I got this knife, it was a little bit gritty. on the detent, opening it up, right? This was not completely refined. It was a little bit rough right out of the box. It is now completely broken in. And the detent is really, really nice now. Before, there was a little bit of like a ledge right here. Like it was kind of light, and then you hit a ledge, and it was a little crunchy, and then it would break free, and then you'd use it. But now it is completely broken in, and the detent on this thing is really nice. So, reason I say that is if you pick one of these up, and you're not too happy with kind of the out-of-the-box, I wouldn't say action, because it's such a small portion of the action, but out of the box kind of detent, you know, it's up to you if that's unacceptable. But if you want to give it some time and let it break in my experience with this knife, it did break in and go away. And speaking of action, like one of the coolest things, like it still puts a smile on my face, is opening this huge, huge heavy blade and just letting it guillotine shut, because it is running on bearings. And it just, I mean, I'm not getting the best angle on my camera here, but this thing just comes down with authority. In fact, let's see. What is this? This is a thick piece of cardboard. I'm just curious if this would do anything. Like, I'm going to try to hold it here and see what it did. No, not really. It just put that little nick right there. I bet it could put a gash in a hot dog, if you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? Drop this on a glizzy. Oh man, it would do some damage. This is the glizzy cutter. You could maybe put a cigar in there, have it be a cigar cutter. Just kidding. Wouldn't work, but very, very nice. No side-to-side play on this thing at any point in time. I don't know. I have not had to adjust the pivot or anything like that. Speaking of which, best pivots in the game. I love the look of Heretic's pivots. It's got this nice collar, two-piece construction, just a really good design without any sort of weird proprietary hardware needs, right? It just takes a really big Torx bit and it's good to go. I also really appreciate the knurling on the button there. Gives you some grip, and it looks so good as well. Very, very nice. This particular version, like I mentioned, is the G10. You can see the kind of camo here. There's different colors that are available. You can get this in aluminum handles with like the grip tape inlays. A lot of different options. I don't think there's a production titanium version in the manual, or I'm not quite sure. This also comes in a auto version if you want the auto. And the cool thing about the auto and manual version is they're both, button actuated. So pretty dang cool. You can deploy this with the opening hole right here, or of course just press the button and let gravity do the trick. By the way, I don't know how, like gravity knives, I don't know how these aren't a gravity knife. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. That whole thing is so confusing. When I do this, this feels like a gravity knife, right? You're pressing a button and then you're letting gravity. Anyways, let's not get into that. I think it's one of those don't ask, don't tell type things. Like, let's not talk about it. We'll just keep living our lives and enjoying the knives we enjoy. I don't want to ruffle any jimmies by bringing things up like that. Milled titanium pocket clip. You've got the Beg ball in here, invented by Todd Begg. I really like it. This is one of my favorite style of clips with the Beg ball. I prefer the black silicone carbide balls just for looks, but this one's stainless steel. It works just as good and actually fits the motif a little bit better. I like black balls. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I like those black balls. Here's a big old lanyard hole in case you want that. Not in the way, not obtrusive. Not many people are rocking lanyards nowadays, but it could come back in style. And then if you have knives like this, they're ready to go. This is how it is in the hand. It feels pretty good. This thing can sometimes get in the way. Like there's a very specific, like right here is where it feels comfortable. So where my index finger is kind of on the bottom part of this, if I go up a little bit higher, this sucker is just digging right into my birdie finger. And then of course, if I go back here, it's digging into my index finger. So right here is the money spot right here. Feels really, really good. Like a lot of knives, if I really squeeze hard, you get a little bit. It is kind of blocky. We've got chamfering on the G10 here, but it's not contoured or anything like that. But for normal like gripping, it feels really, really good as long as you kind of get this in between these two fingers here. Very nice. And for a knife this size, it carries extremely well. Imagine if this was a thinner blade stock. This thing would be a super lightweight beast. Speaking of that, the only other complaint you may have is it is a little off balance. It is blade heavy, as you can imagine, with that thick stock and just G10 here. Now, this one isn't so bad. I hear the versions that are carbon fiber handles kind of go a little too far, and some people don't like it because it's very front heavy. This one isn't too bad. It's decently balanced, but yes, you can see how the blade wants to tip. So it's about at, it's about at the pivot. You put it at the pivot and, oh, no, a little above the pivot. So yeah, really kind of up here is where the balance point is. For me, it's fine. I think it feels good. I just wanted to let you know in case that's something you're kind of sensitive to or kind of annoys you or anything like that. Perfectly centered. Very cool knife. Very cool knife. Like I mentioned at the beginning, price is kind of high on these. They're like above $400, which is tough. I mean, you're getting a thick piece of Magnacut, but, there's not... I don't think there's a drop. No, I was going to say there's not a drop of titanium. There is a titanium pocket clip here. The Mushroom of Power can verify. But that's about it. It is just G10 and a big piece of steel, and it's a button lock, which tends to be least expensive. So it is a bit of a sell, but Heretic Knives is an awesome company. So if you like to support USA-made companies, future innovations, future designs, that's kind of what you're doing when you buy these knives, right? You're supporting a small business. You're allowing them to take risks with knives in the future, try different things. So it's not a waste, it's not a waste. This is not some giant corporation that's going to just absorb these funds and use it to do stock buybacks, right? These are families that work for Heretic, some of which I'm friends with, really cool guys. So yes, objectively, the price on these are kind of high, but I still think it's absolutely worth it. These are really cool, and you're supporting some really cool people, and it's a lot of fun. Plus, you can always just, buy it on the secondary market and save a bunch of money if you want. That's an option as well, and then you still get to check out the knife. But I really like it. Like I said, you don't see big, beefy, monster button locks all that often. I can't think of a button lock that's bigger than this or as big as this. Usually, button locks are on smaller, fidgety kind of EDC type knives, not big monster behemoths like this. All right, guys, what do you think of the manual Pariah? Comment down below. I want to hear your opinions. Let me know if you have one, what you think about it, and tell me about your day. All right, guys, I'm out. Catch you later.